Why leadership is very lonely, it is because you got to keep advancing. The more you grow within your leadership space, you become less of the person who is doing, but you become more of an influencer of many people who are achieving what you need them to achieve. One of the most difficult things that I have seen that people struggle with is remaining consistency. I would say that is the most difficult thing is the consistency. Leadership, even if you're young, does not give you or warrant you to be able to disrespect someone.
Yes. I want to throw something in there. What if I'm not a people person?
Then you're not a leader. You have to be prepared to know that you'll be tested.
Okay.
Your emotions will be tested. Your focus will be tested. And so you got to be prepared that dynamics will change.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be prepared that you are dealing with people. People who are rational. They also have their ways and irrational. They also have their own views. They have, which could be very different from what you had thought and what you had expected. But one thing that you have to be prepared is that you can never achieve alone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Connecting Generations. We've been having fun conversations about how we can connect in the workplace, who manages our wellness. Is it our responsibility, or is it something that we can have the institution manage for us? And today we're going to be joined by somebody who's a trainer, a coach. He will tell us a lot more about him and what he does to support leaders in this space, especially as far as their growth as entrepreneurs is concerned. So thank you very much, George, for coming. I'm looking forward to conversations with you.
Thank you.
Yes. So what do you do? Tell us a bit more about yourself, your name and what you do.
When sometimes that question comes, I wonder where to start from. But I think I do many things, but maybe just to say in terms of what I report to on a daily basis.
Yes.
I run a consultancy firm called Manpower Group Ltd, which we say that we are more of a catalyst.
You're a catalyst.
We are catalytic nature in terms of ensuring that we support organizations, all sort of organizations, especially in terms of them finding their way, in terms of what do they think is the main problem that they do experience.
In the organization.
Yes. And so it could be all through, because you see an organization is basically like a value chain. So within that particular value chain, we either looking for, do you want basically to be able to identify who you are from a value proposition? Then how do you even position those products within the market? How do we support in terms of building capacity? How do we support in terms of even getting into the market? But we find more of ourselves so much into the space of finance, because that's my background has always been within the banking space.
Okay.
So our catalytic nature is basically to drive financial inclusivity. So you find we are more in terms of supporting leaders within that space, in ensuring that people are included within the financial space.
Yes. Okay. So you mentioned organizations. Do you work with the individual? Because I've interacted with you on an individual basis, right? Do you work with the individual, or must somebody be in an organizational setting?
I think I work with individuals, but within the organizational setting.
Okay.
Because you see, I usually say organizations do not exist in isolation.
Without the people.
Without the people, then organization does not exist.
Okay.
So I do say I work with people, individuals, but within a setup and a platform of an organization.
Yeah.
Because within that space, then we are able to find what they do and how they enhance and how do they contribute within that particular organization.
Okay.
So I would say I work with people, but within an organization.
Within an organization.
Setup. Yes.
And I'm asking that so that we can get into, because this is about connecting generations, we get into the place of how do we address the human in the organization.
Okay.
Right. You're running a consultancy firm, right?
Yeah.
But that is corporate.
Yeah.
But like you have rightfully said, there are people in the corporate. So I want us to support the people. Because there could be people in the corporate, there could be people hoping to get into this corporate. What are some of the personal pains that people have in an organization that would lead them to not succeed on the official side of things?
I think, just as I said, you see, human beings come into an organization as who they are. And so their social life and whatever that would happen within their space affect directly even how their productivity and how they would actually manifest themselves within that organization. So I would say the pain, based on where it's coming from, can affect anyone within an organization. It can affect maybe what we call maybe the balancing, because they have a family, they have a social life, they have maybe financial space where they also need to operate from. And because all this works in an ecosystem within a human nature, then whatever that would happen and the pain they might experience actually can affect them within an organization. And also what happens within an organization can affect their personal life also. You have met with people where you find that because of what they're going through within an organization, the stress, the pressure, and is affecting even now outside there. How do they relate even within their families? How do they relate with the people that they are interacting with? So it can be both. What is happening within their social life affects their organizational life. What is happening within the organization has a direct impact also on the other side also.
So do you get a chance to have such conversations?
Yes, I do. Because you find that I find myself also becoming, I participate within other organizations where I find myself playing as a mentor. I also find myself as a coach. And you see, you cannot be a mentor to someone if you're helping them to be able to identify, to be able to expand their dream, to be able to maybe even start to be able to move what their thoughts are into reality, and maybe even later becoming, maybe setting it up as a business, to be able to grow within their career path. So within the mentorship space, within the coaching space, then you will have to find that you will have to be able to get into those two areas. How are they within their organization? How do they expect, and what is their dream within who they want to become within the organization? And even how their social life is also, because you've got to be able to help them to have a work-life balance. And a work-life balance is like a seesaw. It is basically what is happening on the social side and what is happening on the organization.
And it really just has to balance.
Yes, it has to balance.
So tell me, what are some of the things that you have noted people struggling with the most when you're taking them through mentorship or coaching?
People struggle different things. But I find maybe one of the most difficult things that I have seen that people struggle with is remaining consistency. I would say that is the most difficult thing is the consistency. That you find someone who's very clear as to what they wanted to. But as they meet with the dynamics of life, as they get into the space of organization, as they get tied up on the other part of the social life, they get lost.
They get inconsistent.
They become inconsistent. They forget what they wanted to be. And within that space, you realize that they someone who had a passion, all of a sudden that passion is gone. Someone who had identified maybe a very clear path of what they want to within their career space, and maybe how all this ties up, all of a sudden they can't even tell where they were heading to. So, they get lost in all these things. And so one of the things that I have found myself is like taking people back into basics.
Okay.
So
you get started and then
what did you want to do?
Let's go back to the beginning. What did you want to do?
What did you want to do? Where were you? It's like you're taking them back to the crossroad, where they got lost. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I find a lot of, most of the time, consistency becomes one of the most difficult things because there's so many things that someone had not prepared you for. Because life, whether it's a work, whether it's a social life, is not a process. People think it's like, it's not like when it moves, it's not like a production. That it becomes from here, you add this, it becomes green. And you add this, it becomes yellow. No. Dynamics change.
Along the way.
And all of a sudden, maybe the color you expected will turn to
a different version.
All of a sudden, you find a different version.
Okay, so what are some of the things that people need to prepare for? What to be prepared for?
One thing is that basically is that things will not always go what you expected. That's number one. Number two is that the people that you meet with can change you if you are not certain and well grounded into what you also wanted to be. And you can also change people, expecting them to be able to conform to what you wanted to. And because they're also different, they may not always adapt or follow you.
So things would go as you thought they would. Yes.
So two things you'll always have to remember. That you got to be very consistent. But the same way, you also have to have some level of flexibility. Yes.
Okay.
Balance of flexibility and a balance of consistency. I think those two.
Because what I'm hearing is consistency is not doing the same thing, which is somewhat rigid. Consistency is showing up for yourself every single time.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's also remaining focused
on whatever it is.
On whatever your vision has always been.
Yes.
Even when things will always turn into.
Okay.
The others that may come in between, it is because they are building up to becoming the product.
Yes.
That value that you thought that you can be able to add.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So we look out for consistency. We look out for the fact that things won't always work as you thought they would. What's something else that we need to be prepared for?
Then you also have to be prepared, to always that you'll be expected to offer leadership. You have to be prepared to know that you'll be tested.
Okay.
Your emotions will be tested. Your focus will be tested. And so you got to be prepared that dynamics will change.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be prepared that you are dealing with people. People who are rational. They also have their ways and irrational. They also have their own views.
Yes.
They have, which could be very different from what you had thought and what you had expected. But one thing that you have to be prepared is that you can never achieve alone.
Yeah. You can never achieve alone. Okay. So that means that you need people along the way.
You got to. Because you see, in anything that you do, even if it is, a sole proprietorship job, who are you dealing with? You're dealing with customers.
Exactly.
Those are people.
Yeah.
You could be a pastor. You're dealing with a congregation. Those are people. As much as you stand up there with your own mic and you're talking to them as a solo, but you're dealing with them as people. So at the end of the day, they come into your life as different ways.
Yes.
It could come as customers. It could become as the users of the services that you are giving unto them. So basically, you have to get prepared that you will be dealing with people in different stakeholders.
Yes.
They are your key stakeholders anyway, at the end of the day. The biggest consumers of whatever that you will
be humans.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then, tell us then a bit more about loneliness at the top, and how, okay, so you're growing, you're looking out for this, you're working with people. Why then is it so lonely at the top?
Why leadership is very lonely. It is because you got to keep advancing. And that means that at each particular level of life, when you move to the next level, then those who are at the level that you are in that particular point, you got to leave them.
Okay.
And as you go up, I usually say just like a pyramid. So down here,
many people.
As you climb up, lesser and lesser and lesser. Then you find that even when you talk about hierarchy in terms of leadership, the top part of the pyramid is very small. So it's only very few people who can fit in there.
Yes.
And just if you want to fit inside there, you got to know then you have to be your fewer and it will be lonely.
It will be lonely.
And sometimes it's not about you. It's also about them. They will also separate away from you.
Oh, the people that you're leaving will also leave you.
They will leave you.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, your view, the challenges that you're meeting with are different. What was a challenge yesterday, which they were feeling part of you, all of a sudden is no longer the challenge. What was expected for you to deliver yesterday as a doer, now today you are the person who is making people to do. The questions you were asked yesterday are the questions you will ask someone tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if they felt that you were part of me because we were being asked the same questions with you, then all of a sudden you are asking me. So you no longer now, they now become them.
Yeah.
And it's become you.
Yeah.
So it becomes more lonely.
Okay.
Number two, it's because your dreams evolve. And the more they become bigger, those who do not have the same kind of a dream and vision falls off. They shake off and they just disappear. Because either the dynamics, the way you're doing things are different. What is expected of you all of a sudden?
Change.
Your performance, what we call KPIs, change. Becomes much more bigger. So if it's lesser, they will feel we don't have anything to discuss with you. So it becomes lonely because of what you're pursuing, because your vision is bigger, because others may not understand. And it's also because you got to be able to change also so that you can fit there.
Okay.
And sometimes even this change is not something that you even know. It just comes and all of a sudden, where you thought Shalom is your friend, Shalom feels she can't fit in anymore.
Yeah.
So she either walks away or you got to walk away yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now because humans need connection, how then can this leader, this entrepreneur, this person at the top, so to speak, end up dealing with that? So loneliness will be inevitable because we are fewer and the dreams are evolving. But we still need that human connection.
I think one of the things that you got to be able to remain, even as you climb up and even as you become lonely, is always to keep remembering that you need everyone. You know, you need that gatekeeper. You need that person who is sweeping. You need that person who is fixing your tea. So when you recognize and appreciate every role that each person is doing, and you handle them within their role and how that role is important to you, then it's not about them anymore.
Yeah.
It's about you and how you also bring them into your space. Remember, because your space is a bit complicated, they will not push themselves into your space. So it is for you to bring them into your space.
Okay.
It's for you to make them feel comfortable and to know and to appreciate them within the little space and the little thing they're coming to do for you to know that it is very, very important.
Yeah.
And that you cannot do without that little. That person who is fixing your tea, you may not have gone into the kitchen to fix your tea. Appreciate that they're doing that for you. And if they do it well, appreciate them. When they feel part of you, in the little way that they're contributing, then as much as it will be lonely by the dreams and the visions that you have, is not lonely
on a human
level because you're dealing and you're able to bring them into your space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a bit more then, because what I felt is an element of humility is required, right? How terrible is pride when it comes to the advancement of a leader, the personal growth of a leader?
Can I say that, would I call it pride? But I say, if you get into the space of becoming proud, then just the same way that it is said that is the beginning of fallout, you will fall. Because at the end of the day, when you're so proud and have forgotten that you need these people, and they are also your staircase. Remember that just like, you need them. You are climbing them.
Yeah.
You have used them to climb to where you are. And so equally, just the same way in each part of a stair, each stair is important because whether you're going up, you require the stair which is up. If you're going down, you require the stair which is down there. So if you do not then recognize that each stair is important, which are these people, then you will crumble from up there and your fall will be big. Yes. So pride will bring you down.
Yeah.
Yes. But when I talk about, again, humility, I'm not referring to you becoming like, again, it's all of a sudden like you are begging. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
But humility is more of becoming more of an influencer. You influence people to achieve what you want to achieve. Because the more you grow within your leadership space, you become less of the person who is doing, but you become more of an influencer of many people who are achieving what you need them to achieve. Remember, you will never be. No one is a monopoly of has monopoly of understanding, but you need to constantly remember that your vision remains very constant, and so you require people at different levels who have the different knowledge, technical knowledge, to come in and plug into that vision. Okay. But you still remain the vision bearer.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to us about young people leading older people. What does it then take? Because you see, and I'm borrowing that from, or linking that to the fact that when you're younger, you tend to feel, and the societal pressure tends to make you feel as though you need to be, quote unquote, the lesser. Whereas as an older person in the workplace, you end up feeling, because you've been there longer, you need to be the wiser, you need to be the mentor, you need to be the leader. What would you tell a young person who needs to lead older people who have been there for a while? And especially in the experience that you have as a mentor and coach, because I know you work with young people. How do you groom them to lead people who are older than them?
I think what I always would wish to know, because I think I also became, I was exposed to leadership when I was very, very young. But one thing that remains constant is that leadership, even if you're young, does not give you or warrant you to be able to disrespect someone.
Yes.
So in our culture, respect has to remain constant. And so the same way you need to respect someone because they're much more older than you, that does not necessarily mean that you're not supposed to offer leadership to that older person. But you should be able to mix it with some level of respect. Because the other part of leadership is not just about the technical part of what you need to show them, but it brings in other soft skills that are required. And so as a young person, remember, kuishi kwingi kuona mengi. So this person who is much more older than you, they may not be technically knowledgeable than you, but they have known a lot about life more than you. They have seen more other people who are much more younger. They have passed through that path. So appreciating that there is a lot you can also learn from them is very, very important. So for me, I think the most important thing is that if you're given leadership within the corporate space, if you're given leadership within an organization and you're younger, one, when you're coming to practice that leadership, never see yourself as young, but see yourself as someone who has been given the mantle to lead, an opportunity to lead, not because you are the best. Now, I always say, there are other people who can even do it better than you. It's an opportunity you've been given. But you got to be able to work with all these people. So the dynamism of life, the different, demographics and age is one of it. Then you got to be able to know that you have to be able to blend it very, very well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when I now look at that process, you have the respect that you're giving, you're showing up consistently, you're looking out for some of the things that you have told us we're looking out for. Where then is the place for decision making when it's going to affect people? So to make it a bit more, narrowly focused. You're in leadership. You're having to make the decision to fire people or to let go of people, right? So you're making a decision, it's going to hurt people. You're at the top. It's a lonely place. And here you are needing to make decisions that are going to harm people. I know it's not difficult. It's not easy. So I'm not going to ask how easy is that decision, but how can somebody navigate that process as a leader?
How do you tell a leader? Number one, it's the value of the decisions they make.
Yeah.
Leadership is about making decisions. And some of these decisions will not be easy for you, but you're expected to make them. Some of these decisions will have to affect people. But at the same time, it will affect others. It will also benefit others. So you've got to be able to look at the bigger goal of what the decision that you'll be making. How will it benefit the organization? And how will it affect the people? So you got, again, to be able to have a balance of the two. How does it affect? Prepare these people for the effect that will happen to them.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to think about it. You have to make, how will I also, within the interference, within the disruption that my decision will be able to affect these people, prepare them. So prepare them, and you don't have even to prepare someone, but you can be able to prepare an environment that will be conducive for the decision that you'll be able to make.
Okay.
If that decision will mean that you have to fire these people, and it's required that maybe you got to be able to fire them, maybe it's part of the decision, that strategy would be maybe cost. You got to reduce cost.
Cut your cost, yes.
Cut your cost, maybe your operational cost. And this means that maybe you have to go into the space where maybe the costs is too much. It could be salaries. That means you have to lay off some people. Then think of, how will this affect them? How can I be able to make it easier for them? So one, be very open in the beginning that this is what is happening to the organization. This is what we have to be able to do. Let people get prepared that this is the direction that we could be heading. And if it will affect them within the space where they are, sometimes you can even be able to prepare a well-faced way
of letting people
go. Okay? You can even let them that within this period of the time, we'll be laying off. So we are preparing you to either start looking for a job, and if you get a job, it would be important that we let you go.
Okay.
If it has then to happen as upfront as possible, because maybe you have to be able to apply into the decision that maybe has been made at another strategic level, which is higher than you, then you have to be able to prepare them. I've seen organizations either doing maybe a voluntary kind of, a voluntary way of how you can separate with people.
Yeah.
You can decide maybe to pay them a 1 month salary to be able to give them like a buffer. But application of ensuring that what is humanly acceptable, even as you make that decision, because you got to be able to make it.
Yeah.
Well, if then you will be forced to be able to make it in a very different way, then, and which could be harsh, and the reality is harsh, then you still have to face these people. It has to be sudden,
yes.
Yes, you have to face them and tell them the reality as it is. Sometimes it will hurt them, but they will see that you are open and you had thought about their feelings at the end of it.
Okay. I want to throw something in there. What if I'm not a people person?
Then you're not a leader.
So to be a leader,
what do you mean by a people person?
Like, I don't like talking to people. I'd rather hire somebody else to do that for me.
You see, the interpersonal skills is a soft skill that every leader should be able to have, even if you are not. Which brings me to the question when people always keep asking, is leadership something that you are born with? Or is leadership something
that you can learn?
You learn. You've got to be able to learn.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to know, the more you become, the more, as you rise up within your career space, as you rise within all the spheres of where you want to be, within you, the dreams that you want to, that's the heavier the decisions that you have to be able to make. And some of these things you also have to be able to intentionally learn. So, and some things are not, no one else can be able to do for you very well. Then if you cannot be able to do it, that is why in each organization, there is each department that is handling. An organization will have HR. Then you can allow, but ensure whatever that will be passed to those people, even if you're not the ones who are passing them, you cannot pass the aspect of ownership. So you can allow someone else to be able to pass that, but you already have and have already given an affirmation and have approved the process of how they will be told.
Okay.
Yes. Even if it will not be you who will have to do it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's then move a bit to a leader who has come, served under you, and then succeeded. How do you help them balance commercial success and personal success?
In the organizations that I've always worked before, I have seen that when the commercial success is driven so much when you also connect with personal development. Because people are selfish by nature. They don't come to work because they like the company they work for so much.
Okay. Why do they come to work?
They come because of their personal growth.
Because they want something.
Because they want something at the end of the day. If you told people all of a sudden to work for free, they won't come tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when you understand they come because of their personal growth, then you got to be able to ensure that you get interested in their personal growth.
Okay.
If the personal development part of it is a key area that you're also focusing on, you tie in their personal growth into the reward that you're giving them on the other side of the commercial. They drive the commercial side very well because it is rewarding their personal growth.
Okay.
The problem is that when the commercial side of it is so selfish that it is not interested with the personal growth on the other side, then that is where now the blend doesn't come in very well. But where you're very interested with the personal growth, you sit down with them, you agree with what the level, you pursue their personal growth, you give them areas and support that can make them, you facilitate their personal growth, they will deliver your commercial side. Yes.
Okay. Does stress influence this negatively or positively? And why I'm asking negatively or positively is when stress comes in, because stress is part of leadership. Does it make this an easier journey or does it make this a more difficult journey?
I think
because we're looking at the leader. Yeah.
They're both sides of the coin. But it depends with what kind of stress are you referring. If the stress is very negative, okay, and it is one-sided, that I am only interested in my way, and my way, it's either my way or the highway, then I stress you because I don't want to see your way.
So that is negative stress.
That is the negative stress.
Okay.
But positive strength is where everyone wants success. Success is owned. All of us are moving toward the same direction. All of us are interested in achieving the same thing. And because something is not happening the way we expect, then stress comes in as we try to sort in how do we do it. So stress which is shared, which looks like it is collective, then it becomes lesser and it is very positive.
Okay.
So I would say if you're not stressed, then you're also not growing.
Okay, I like that. If you're not stressed, you're not growing.
You're not.
So you need an element of stress.
Yes, an element of stress, but again, which is manageable. Again, and which you are also able, and which is more of collective. Okay, something that you have also brought in, you have ensured you have embedded it to someone else. And so when it is more shared, and it is well carried by that person who is supposed to carry that part of the stress. You see, stress is different. Maybe if it's related to human resource, let it be carried by someone who's an expert in that. If it's finance, let it be carried by someone who's finance. If it is ICT, let that stress be carried. But all of us are driving towards the same growth, but carrying different parts of the stress. Yes.
Okay. So how can a leader know that stress is unmanageable?
I think it is when it affects you negatively.
Okay. When
it becomes that your decision are not necessarily based on what is right, but it is based on what you think. And when you are tying in your emotional part of it to making the decision, which does not require your emotion so much, that is now when you realize it is unmanageable.
Okay.
When what is happening outside there becomes part of what needs, you make it and you bring it inside here. When is happening in your marriage becomes again what you bring in to the organization. When you realize you're not able to separate very well all this, then stress becomes unmanageable. But when you are able to separate everything and apply it where it's supposed to be, and that stress only comes in when you are there, then that's a manageable stress.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's what I'm hearing is that it's something that you need to be aware of yourself and do a personal check.
Yes.
Almost like a pulse check, every single day, not necessarily, but often enough. You're looking at yourself and you're asking, okay, so how am I doing today? Is this part of my life coming to interfere with another part of my life?
Exactly. And also maybe allowing yourself also to have some level of feedback.
Yeah.
And that is why you should always have someone whom you are accountable to. And if they give you feedback and tell you nowadays, the way you reacted yesterday or the way you have just reacted when you were in that meeting, how do you think about that reaction? A reflection, you know, and that is why you always have to remember that you can only win when you are a team, because a team and team players will give you feedback.
Yeah. So what are the steps then for a leader, or tips that you can give? They don't have to be steps that one by one, but what tips can you give to a leader to allow people in? Like, what do they need? What are the processes they need to be thinking through to allow people in to a point of giving them that feedback? Because we could serve on the same team, right? How do I invite you into the space where you can give me feedback?
I think one is to be able to know that there will always be organizational goals. And so focus on those organizational goals. And the organizational goals are later, divided into objectives that each particular person needs to achieve. And for us to be able to achieve the wholesome organizational goals, because as a leader, I cannot be everywhere. I recognize, I appreciate, and I reward you for whatever that you're doing. Then within the space that you are playing your part, because it is my work to ensure that each particular side and each particular space, each particular, within a keyboard, there is a keys. Each particular key that I'm playing is important to ensure that the music comes out well. And without part of that key, then that music will not turn out. That note will not be the note that I need to play. When you recognize and appreciate every role that each person is playing, then within the space that you're bringing them on board, because you're appreciating, it could not be personal feedback, but it will be feedback that will be key to you as a leader, as a top leader, in making the right decision.
Okay.
Because they will give you the decision. They will be free to be able to give you advice that is related to the part they are playing, because it affects them also. And together, they can help you making that decision.
Okay.
So because they feel part of that decision process, they will feel part of that space. And you have allowed them.
Yeah.
So you more or less like are running an open door policy, where I recognize that part. I know that I need you, and you also that you need me.
Yeah.
Because
and then
I am the one who's making the final decision.
Yeah.
But I have also considered part of what you have already advised me that we need to do together.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you, now this is about you as a person. Have you ever carried a decision home long and stayed with it longer than you ought to have as a leader?
Not once.
Throughout your leadership journey?
I think I've always found myself sometimes carrying things home because maybe I couldn't even be able to think very well as to what I needed to do. Sometimes I usually say a delayed decision is better than a hasty decision that ends up not being the best one.
Okay.
So not once I've carried things that maybe I ought to have made decisions, or maybe where I ought to have come up with something which I need to show direction, but I felt I couldn't figure out very well. I've carried them.
Okay.
Yes.
How then do you, as a leader, stop that from, remember when we were talking about things coming in, out coming in and from in going out?
Yeah.
So you have carried this decision with you. How do you stop it from affecting this new space that you have taken it to?
I think even if I've carried it home, then I've carried it home a year, but it still belongs to the organization which I left.
Yeah.
So when I come in here, I need to remember that I'm in a new space. And so that decision have carried home, I should not come again now tie it to what I have done on the other side. I'll give you an example. If then I was supposed to be thinking, and I know that I have to be able to give a decision the following day, then I need to allow myself first to give people the time of the space I've come in. After they are out of that space, then I can always go back into my inner space, even in my sleep, and think of what I need to be able to say.
Yeah.
But I am not I'm ensuring that it's still not affecting that person. If it's my own child, then they needed my own attention. I should be able to work hard to ensure that I give them that attention at that particular point. It's not easy, but you can still ensure that you don't, again, you try as much as possible. Sometimes it will affect a bit, but I can assure you, with time, if you practice it very well and you ensure that each decision is for the space that you're required. For me, I always think that the best thing to do is always approach life in buckets.
Tell us about that. How do you do life in buckets? I almost feel as though it's easier for men to do it than women, but not that, tell us, how do you approach life in buckets?
It's always to know that life will be made of different faces. It's just the way to know that there's a day will have a daylight and it will have a night. Okay? Night is for sleeping, day is for working.
Okay.
If you work at night, then it will affect how you'll perform during the day.
But nights can be for working and day for sleeping.
Based on whether it's the decision that you have made and maybe the job that you do.
Yeah.
And when I say that you need to approach life as a bucket, is to ensure that if I come and I'm dealing with you and we deal with you in my social space, then I only relate with you in that space and I finish with you in that space. If I go to work, I don't pull Shalom in my social. I leave Shalom in her social space.
And
I go and deal with John in the organizational space. I don't bring John again back into my
your social space.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you will find that you can have then different people in your life, but none knows your social life if they are within the organization because they ought not to be knowing that space.
Okay.
Personally, that is how I approach it.
Yeah. So work friends are work friends, social friends are social friends.
If I relate with you in church, I deal with you in church
and finish
I stop there.
Yeah.
So I will not come to apply my pastoral things I was doing, I'm supposed to have given, and I'm in an organization. That person does not require pastoral care.
Oh, that's in terms of how you're relating to them.
Yes.
Okay. So now, how then do you draw, there's that thin line between people that you met, for instance, now that you mentioned church, people that you met in church, who you end up interacting with on a professional capacity, and over time, they end up being your friends. How do you manage the boundaries in the transition of that relationship as a leader?
I think it's always to know that sometimes it will be very difficult, but it is always to ensure that a bit of what is very good on each space, you can blend it on the other.
Okay.
My professional space, who said, if I am within my church life, that does not require my professionalism. So I should apply professionalism even within the other space that I'm in.
Yeah, that is skill.
Yes. The skill part of it. So what is required on each part, that skill which is required, you can bring it on board on the other space.
Yes.
But you have just asked then, how do I ensure that thin line?
Yes, because skill is easy.
Yeah.
Skill is easy to wrap my head around. How about people? Bringing a person who you are with on one sphere of life into this other circles and buckets.
I think it is because on each particular space, there are acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
There are acceptable code of conducts that are there for that particular space. Then you need to relate with this person within the acceptable code of conduct.
In that space. Okay. So also look at the code of conduct of the space that you're bringing this person to.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So if we normally meet on the social, have a drink together, when we are in the office, we're not going to behave as though we are social.
But also we
follow
need
the
to
code.
ensure that you also balance. There is a balance of all that.
Yes.
Again, at the end of the day, you cannot be at a certain level. And again, you also want to relate with people at a level that they are down there. And you are expected to be able to behave at a level which is up there. It's a balance. You got to always to be very much conscious as who you are dealing with. You deal with people at the level that they are in. You deal with the people at the level of understanding, the knowledge that they are in, and you appreciate them in that particular space, and you do not pull and bring in someone into a space that they ought not to have been in that space.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's interesting. Now that you've mentioned balance, how do you yourself stay grounded?
I think I stay grounded by ensuring, one, what is it that can make me then to move out of the ground.
Okay. What can destabilize
What
you?
can destabilize
Okay,
me? So I ensure that the destabilizers are manageable. And the ground that I'm always standing in, I know where I am supposed to be standing in. So if I stand in a ground that I am not supposed to stand in, my conscience will be able to tell me, you're standing on a ground that you're not supposed to be standing in.
Okay.
So my conscience, and I always have to ensure that my conscious part of it is very active.
Yeah.
And the ground that I'm supposed to be standing in, the decision that I'm supposed to be making at that particular point, whether it will be not what the other people will be expecting, I got to be able to make it. First, to ensure that my emotional stability is not affected. And secondly, I can live with that conscience of the ground that I'm standing in at that particular point. So how do I remain grounded? I have to always to ensure that I conform, I'm flexible within the space that I'm in, and I am very much certain and conscious of the ground that I'm in.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, those are internal things that we don't see. Because you see, I can't look at you like this and say, are you conscious of the ground you're on? Are there other external things that you do, any activity that you do that helps you, again, stay grounded, manage this stress, be able to separate the things into the bucket, show up as a dad where you need to show up as a dad, show up as a pastor where you need to show up as a pastor, show up as a boss where you need to show up as a boss? Are there activities that you can guide an upcoming leader and say, if you did some of these things on the external, yes, you're talking about the mind, be aware. Are there some things that you do on the outside that help you manage your life as a leader?
One of the things that obviously is you have to constantly keep doing is that you will have to keep learning.
So do you learn?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
You can never stop learning. And learning is not necessarily just about being in class. It is for you to keep on improving on your skill. It is to keep on improving on your interpersonal skills. So there's skills part of it. And there is the part of what is you have to constantly keep learning. What you watch, what you hear, but you have to be intentional in terms of personal development.
Okay.
Because if you do not develop yourself, then there will always be things that people will get to know that you will not be knowing. So if you know something that I don't know, then I should be open to learn from you. So you got to keep learning from other people, and you have to be intentional in terms of increasing your own knowledge about something. Never get to a point where you say that you know everything, because you will never know everything. So one of the things that you got to be able to remain grounded is to always to constantly keep improving yourself. Keep always knowing that you will not be knowing everything.
Yeah.
And be ready to help other people, to bringing them to your space. Give them the space to help you. Give them the space to be part of your life and your journey, so that they can help you to remain grounded.
Okay.
Yes.
So you also need the relationship to stay grounded.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the tips that you have given us. And I'm hoping that you have been able to take notes of what you can do as a leader in the space that you're in, and also as an upcoming leader, because you are learning, you are growing, you are going to be dealing with people as we go along. Now, George, before you go, there's something that we do to just remind ourselves that there are ways to connect with people.
Okay.
Right? So I'd like you to spin this wheel, and then you're going to pick a card from the corresponding category and answer the question, right?
Okay.
Let me just bring it closer. Okay. You're gentle. Okay. Wow. Never have I ever. Now this.
Wow.
Do you want to do 5 of them? Okay, I'll just pick one, right?
Okay.
Or you pick one and then you give me and I'll ask. Shuffle and pick.
How do you shuffle this?
Any which way. Are you reading this?
I'm not reading.
Okay.
I just want you to pick randomly.
Yes. Okay. So what you're going to do, if you have, maybe you could even let's just do it with the fingers, right? There's going to be 5 things that I say here, never have I ever. If you have done it, you put down your finger. If you haven't, then your fingers stay up.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, so never have I ever lied on a first date. You haven't. Never have I ever pretended to be on phone. Never have I ever gotten a haircut that I hated. Never have I ever played a sport to please a crush. Are you a sporty person, by the way?
I wouldn't call myself sporty.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is about you. We've talked about how you develop as a leader, right? Now, this we're taking you back to when you were a child. Never have I ever lied to my parents about my whereabouts. You have. I probably should have picked 10. So thank you very much for being a good sport. You never lied on a first date. You've never pretended to be on phone or played a sport to please a crush.
Yeah.
Okay. This sort of ties into what you have said about having buckets and being clear about what those buckets are. And I think also the first thing that you started us off with, the need for consistency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, when I believe that when you lie, most of the time you will forget what you had lied.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's your first date.
Okay. All right. So dear leaders, learn from George, learn from the tips that have been given, and imagine it is possible to actually do life without lying. Because here's the disadvantage of lying. When you tell the first lie, you're going to have to remember it or cover it up. So enjoy your leadership journey and looking forward to seeing you in future episodes.